Welcome, everybody, to this session on Upload Electronic Holdings from ProQuest Ebook Central. This is Yoel Cortex, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and it is December 12th, 2023. And believe it or not, this is our last session in our series, Managing Electronic Resources. This has been a 12-part session. I believe it's 12 parts. And in any case, it's been going on since September. And we've come all the way to the end here. We had the overview in the background. We ordered and activated electronic collections, if you recall, then portfolios. Then we talked about maintaining e-resources. In fact, today's session relates to the maintaining e-resources because we had mentioned in the maintaining e-resources that it's possible to take a file and upload it, a KBART file, or what's called a proprietary format, an Ex Libris format file, and upload it to automatically update and add and delete portfolios from an electronic collection. And today we're going to be seeing how that can happen automatically for electronic collection ProQuest Ebook Central. So after the maintaining e-resources, we did some troubleshooting on the discovery side. We talked about the overlap analysis tool, which checks overlap between electronic collections. Then we talked about the usage statistics, the counter and the sushi harvesting, the analytics for electronic resources. Contributing to the community zone was last week. And now we're finishing today with the upload electronic holdings for ProQuest Ebook Central. So today, unlike previous sessions, I'm going to show a little bit more of the PowerPoint than usual. However, we will also look at the job and the job results. And the reason I'll be showing the PowerPoint is because this is not a job which we can just run now on demand and a second later go see what it did, which we could do when we check the connection for sushi, and we could do when we wanted to load a file of portfolios for electronic collection or see how the overlap electronic connection analysis tool runs and works. So this runs in the evening or at night, once a day. We'll talk more about that. So we're going to look at previous runs of the job and see in that way how it works. So first of all, this is a reference to the online help. The main page of the online help is here, Upload Electronic Holdings from ProQuest Ebook Central, and it explains everything you need to know. Those of you watching this via YouTube will have in the description a link to this page here, to the Electronic Resources series page, and there you've got a link to this PowerPoint, which includes all the links. So that's just reference to where you can learn more about what we're looking at. So what is the point here? It's an integration with ProQuest Ebook Central. ProQuest Ebook Central having a very large ebook collection in the community zone, which we'll look at. And this is an integration which, according to each institution's purchase, what's called their site ID that we'll talk a little bit more about, it automatically updates the portfolios in the electronic collection. That could be to remove a portfolio that's no longer part of the collection, add a portfolio that has been added to the collection, change a bibliographic record in the electronic of a portfolio in the collection, or the parsing parameters, the actual link to the resource within the portfolio. So it can do all kinds of updates, and it doesn't use a file. Other integrations with other vendors use a file. A file comes in, usually format KBART, and it's loaded. Here, there's no file. It's automated behind the scenes. I won't go into all the technical details of it, but it happens automatically behind the scenes once a day. The main point here, and the most important part, is this last bullet. It eliminates the need for human intervention. So your ProQuest eBook Central electronic collection is always up to date, and the staff user never needs to do anything. and we'll see how that works. But that's the main point here. Everything is automated and happens once a day, so it's always up to date. This more or less is what I stated. Now, in order for this to work, the institution has to have activated in their institution this electronic collection right here, Ebook Central, Perpetual, DDA, and Subscription Titles. This is the electronic collection that contains the portfolios that get updated. So for example, we're going to be looking at two environments today. If I come here and I search electronic collection name, for that, I'm searching in the institution, as you can see, we will see that I have this activated. It's activated. We know that from our first session already. We know it's activated because the icon is blue and not gray, and we know it's linked to the community zone because we have the picture of the people there and the pop-up text which says click to view record in the community. So the first prerequisite is that the electronic collection called Ebook Central Perpetual DDA and Subscription Titles from ProQuest Ebook Central needs to be activated in the institution from the community zone. And if the institution purchased this, then it would be activated anyway. Or they would have activated it, I should say. So the setup. Now, the institution needs something called the Ebook Central Site ID. Let's pretend we're setting up an integration profile. So here I already have one in this environment, which is where I'm going to show the results of the integration profile. We already have the integration profile set up. So on another environment here, I don't yet have it set up. So here we'll set it up and we'll see how we can set it up. So like all of the integration profiles, they're accessed via configuration general. So I'm clicking configuration on the bottom left and then general. And then under external systems, we have integration profiles. I'm going to add an integration profile. And the integration profile type, which we're going to add, is of type upload electronic holdings. Now, once I choose integration type upload electronic holdings, I can choose the provider. Now, we have several different types. I remember when we only had one, then two, then we had four of them. Look what we've got now. So we're choosing ProQuest Ebook Central, but just for general knowledge, there are other vendors with whom we do the upload electronic holdings. Each one works in a slightly different way. Some of them work similar to each other. So we're going to choose ProQuest Ebook Central because that's who we are integrating with. And I'm going to just give it a description. We are creating an integration profile for ProQuest Ebook Central. Okay, we'll even just say it's an integration profile. Next, now every institution has from ProQuest something called the Ebook Central Site ID. This is what is used by the integration profile to know what electronic portfolios do you subscribe to in this electronic collection, if not all of them. And there's something called a purchase model, which I don't want to get into all the details of the purchase model now, but that will also be included. The Ebook Central Site ID gives you the ability to get exactly what you purchased and how you purchased it from ProQuest Ebook Central in the integration. And it's a mandatory field because otherwise we wouldn't know which portfolios you're supposed to get and get deleted and access model and everything else. Of course, if we want it to run, we'll say active. I'm going to give it a fictitious Ebook Central Site ID just so I can fill it in. I'll give this YLK613 is my Ebook Central Site ID. Then we can schedule it. So I'll edit the scheduling. Now, this can be a daily or nightly, I'm going to say daily. So it happens every day. I'll leave it at 0000, meaning midnight. Done. So it's running now every day at midnight, no day specified. Okay, next run, what is today? Monday, Tuesday? Today's Tuesday, I believe. So next run will be on Wednesday. Done. Okay, so that's all that's needed in order to set it up. That's the whole thing, and then you click Save. You got your eBook Central site ID. You put it in, you schedule it for whenever you'd like. May as well do it daily. Then you're getting the most recent updates all the time. And save. You can also run it on the spot by clicking Save and Run Now. I'm going to do cancel because I don't want to save it, and I already have it set up here. By the way, here you can see all of the ones you have set up. I'm in a different environment where we've already got it set up. And if I come to General Integration Profiles, we can sort here by Upload Electronic Holdings and see them here. But it's already set up, and we already saw how to set it up. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint, cover that part, and then we'll start seeing how it runs. So there's 4 steps. The first one, as I mentioned, is to make sure you get from ProQuest the eBook Central ID. Have that electronic collection, which we saw a moment ago, be activated in the institution. Again, we have this electronic collection in the institution activated from the community zone. Create the integration profile like we just saw a moment ago. We created one and then I did cancel because we don't need it on that place where I was setting it up. And the eBook Central site ID goes into the integration profile. So that's the setup. And this is everything we saw live just a moment ago. We have the electronic collection activated. We set up the integration profile. We put in our eBook Central site ID and we scheduled it. Okay, before I go on, I'm going to stop and look at the chat and see if there's any questions or comments from anybody. Anybody, any questions or comments? Nothing. Okay, let's just do a little check that everybody still hears me. 13 minutes, no questions or comments. I want to make sure that's not because of communication issues. Can anybody just say, yes, Yoel, we still with you. We still hear you. We just don't have any questions. Okay, so somebody, well, people are still with us. Great. Somebody did ask a question. If we start using this eBook Central Auto Holdings collection, someone asks, would we use that collection and or its individual portfolios for ordering, invoicing, e.g. to get cost per use? That is correct. If you start using this electronic collection and all of the portfolios which belong to it, you would need to do the ordering and invoicing. This integration profile does not handle the acquisitions aspect. It handles, as we will see, the update of the electronic portfolios. And then these would be part of the cost per use, provided you have an invoice and an expenditure and everything that goes along with the acquisitions process. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so let's move on. So let's look at the actual update. We're going to look at reports of previous runs of the jobs and see different things. So as we saw, we have it activated to run every day at midnight. So if I come in now to admin, monitor jobs, and I'll filter, for example, in the history tab by the last month. So my submit date range, I will say, let's even do, let's do last 30 days. And now we'll say we want only those with upload electronic holdings. Someone points out, and thank you very much for pointing that out. Hold on, I'm coming here. After you get that site ID from ProQuest, there's something that ProQuest Ebook Central needs to do on their side in the back office. So I should have stated not only get your site ID, notify ProQuest that you are setting up the upload electronic holdings. And that's all in the documentation and in the PowerPoint. But in addition to you just doing everything on your own, setting up the integration profile, giving the site ID, there's something else that ProQuest needs to do on their side in the back office in order to get this to work. Okay. Someone says, isn't it Ex Libris's job to update collections? It seems with this, the client has to do the job. You're right that it's Ex Libris' job to update the collections. We update the collections in the community zone. However, what this job does is it updates the electronic collection in your institution according to exactly what you purchased and how you purchased it. There's something called an access model, for example. So we don't know exactly what you purchased as Ex Libris. ProQuest, from whom you purchased this electronic collection, knows exactly what you purchased. Therefore, via the site ID, you can automatically get the appropriate updates in your institution. Each institution will have different updates here. Okay, let's move on. So, these, for example, are the jobs which ran for Upload Electronic Holdings ProQuest Ebook Central in the past 30 days in this environment. And we're going to take a look at a few of these examples and see exactly what happened. And I'm going to go back and forth with the PowerPoint in this case. So let's come back here. So just like a moment ago, just like we saw live, we've got a date range and upload electronic holdings. In fact, let's even do it the same where it's between December 6th and 7th. So we'll say here we want between December 6th and 7th. Fine. So we see here that 64 records were processed on December 7th, and on December 6th, 2 records were processed. We're going to take a look at what happened with that process. So let's take a look, for example, the one December 7th, where 64 records were processed. And we'll see that 64 of them were updated, and then we're going to go take a look at one of them. So let's take a look at this. We'll say report. So there were nothing with errors. And these are the 64 portfolios were updated. Now we're going to see also that you can see which portfolios were updated, not only from here, from the report, but also via the Community Zone Updates task list. We'll see that as well. So these are 64 portfolios which were updated. Let's take, for example, the seduced by story, the abuse narrative, etc. Now, person who asked, isn't it Ex Libris's job to do the update? Now, here's an example where there's a public access model. It's not always the same for every institution, and it might be that some institutions don't even have all the same content here. So that's why it's going through the integration profile with the site ID, so that each institution is getting exactly what is appropriate for their institution. So this one, according to this job report, which is from, I believe, December 7th, we said yes, that portfolio which I just took was updated. So theoretically, if I were to come to that electronic portfolio and search for that and take a look at this, first of all, so it already says modification date, December 7th. So that's the day the job ran, December 7th, and we see the modification date there. Same thing here, if I were to edit this portfolio and go to the exclamation mark, we'll also see that it was updated on that date. Here we have all the details. Here's the exclamation mark. And again, we see it was last updated 1207 at 0013. If you recall, the job is running at 0000. So 13 seconds later, 13 minutes later and 15 seconds, Eastern Standard Time to be exact, this portfolio was updated. We can see also what exactly was updated, and we're going to see that when we look at the community zone. The community zone updates task list. So let's take a look at one more example of an updated one, just to make sure everything's working properly. Let's go back, admin, monitor jobs, and history. Or let's even already take one which was deleted. So let's say again, we want upload. And let's go back 30 days today. Okay. Let's take one from, let's take this one with 2 of them. Here's one with 2 updated. So let's take an example from here. Street archives in the cities, post-colonial Tanzania. So here it is. Again, updated 12/6. That's the day the job ran. 12/6, December 6th. This is a USA environment, so the month is at the beginning instead of the middle. So we see it was updated. Let's take a look at something deleted now. Let's go on here. So here we're looking at one from November 22nd. It's got deleted. Great. So let's say we come back here, admin, monitor jobs, and I forgot already the date. November 22nd. Okay. History. We'll go by November 22nd. And we'll filter. 199 jobs ran on that day. So let's take a look here. Report. So on November 22nd, there was 1 deleted portfolio. And we see what it is here. And if we were to come, for example, let's go check this out. We should be able to see, we of course can't search Alma now because it's deleted. However, as we all know, the deleted entities do exist in Alma Analytics. So here we'll go to the e-inventory subject area and we'll look for that portfolio. Let's say we want portfolio. I'm going to say number of portfolios deleted. Then I'm going to say availability. Then I'm going to say life cycle. Really only need life cycle. Then let's go get the title. So bibliographic details. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we've even got an MMS ID. Great. But we'll take the title. Treatise concerning the principles of human knowledge. So let's go to bibliographic details and title. QRST. There we are. Okay. I'll filter. I'll say begins with, just in case I don't have the whole thing here. Meanwhile, let's go see. I see somebody asked a question while that's retrieving. Someone says, we also have to deactivate the collection from the CZ that had been previously activated. Oh, that's a continuation of another job? You don't need to deactivate the collection. If you have it already activated, you can just leave it activated. Okay. Okay, so here we see, let's even put it in the MMS ID. Here. Because we have the MMS ID here too. So okay, they're deleted. Great. So we see they were deleted. Let's even get here. 9780. Oh, that's the, let's get the date, modification date. Portfolio, modification date. We got that report on November 22nd. There we are. November 22nd, that was deleted. Okay, so we saw a example of something that was updated, and then we went into Alma. We're going to see more of this and more specific details of what was updated in a moment. But we saw from the job report that something was updated, and then we went into Alma and we saw that sure enough it was updated. We saw that the integration profile deleted something. We went into Alma Analytics and saw that on that date, it had its last modification date was when it was deleted, and it was November 22nd, the same date as the job ran. Let's take another example here. So that's the deleted we just saw. Now we'll look at one from November 23rd where we have activated portfolios. So we already did deleted, we already did updated. Let's see what the story is with activated portfolios. So again, we'll come into our jobs, or we'll just stay at our jobs now and go back. And this time we'll say, give me the 23rd. And here we are, November 23rd. We have 2 records processed. One was updated, one was activated. We already saw an example of activated portfolios. Here it is. And so this one, the pursuit of pleasure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's even take the portfolio ID. So if we come here, we should see that this was activated on the 23rd. And there we go. 23rd. We also have, by the way, if we open this, here we have activation date, the 23rd. So we saw 3 examples. We saw that the job automatically updated the portfolio, automatically activated the portfolio, automatically deleted the portfolio. And that's, again, stressing according to your specific subscription purchase with Ebook Central. I see someone wrote in the chat. Let's see. Someone says the CD is daily updated for these vendors. Again, it doesn't matter if the CZ, you're getting updates here directly from ProQuest Ebook Central. And yes, our CZ is updated daily, but that's not the issue here. The issue here is you're getting a daily update from ProQuest Ebook Central. For example, a portfolio may be deleted or activated regardless of the community zone, because every institution is getting something different based on their site ID. But yes, the CZ is updated daily. Okay, and you need to activate the electronic collection. Let's move on. So we already saw this, the activated portfolios. Now, this report here, missing portfolio status information. You can access this report either from the integration profile itself or from the report. So let's get it from the report, and I'm going to explain it before we go in. There are cases where an electronic portfolio, for whatever reason, has not been activated. And if that's the case, every time the job runs, it tries to activate those portfolios. When it succeeds in activating the portfolio, it puts the date it updated the portfolio in the last update date. That's the last time it tried, let's say, to update the portfolio. And if it's activated, then that was the date it got activated. Let's take a look at what we're talking about here. So we'll go back to the report. I'll get out of here. We'll come back to admin, monitor jobs, and we'll get any of them about the upload electronic holdings. And let's go to the report. So here it is. So it opens a report here. Now the status in all of these cases is successfully activated. There might be some, let's go all the way to the end. In a minute we will. So this is the day that it got activated. It's a list of the portfolios that previously, for whatever reason, it could be one of many reasons, did not get activated. This lists the day it did get activated. And if you want, you can remove it from here, either one at a time or by selecting them all and saying remove. It's also possible to see everything we just saw now. Instead of going from within the reports of each time the job runs, you can go through the Community Zone Updates task list. But before we do that, I see a few more chats came in. Let me go into the chat. Someone says we have an Ebook Central collection activated, not the Auto Holdings one. Oh, I didn't know you were talking about not the Auto Holdings one. I didn't see if the previous person mentioned that. Excuse me if you did. I thought we would deactivate that one. Okay, if the one you have activated now is not the one for Auto Holdings, then you need to activate the one for Auto Holdings, logically speaking, and deactivate the one you have now because there's going to be a lot of overlap. I don't think you'll have both. You need to have this specific collection that I already mentioned at the beginning and several times since then. You need to have this one activated and not a different one, because this is the one that works with the ProQuest Ebook Central Upload Electronic Holdings integration profile. Is that clear? I'll wait for your answer because that's an important point. It has to be this collection. Okay, the person answered yes. Thank you also to you for the clarification. Okay, so I assume that answers the previous person's comment, asking about if they have to deactivate a collection. If it's not this collection, which I've highlighted on the screen now, the integration profile will not work. Okay, that should cover that. So let's move on to the Community Zone Updates task list. The Community Zone Updates task list, as I assume many of you already know, is a way to see all different kinds of changes which were done through the community zone on records that you have activated in your institution. There's really no need to go in there. It's not a mandatory activity. It's more general knowledge, and maybe you want to do something. But generally speaking, you never have to go in there and everything will be fine. But it's nice to know what kind of changes are happening in your institution. So if I come in now and I say resources, I'm not in the configuration menu, I'm in the Alma menu. Resources, Community Zone Updates task list. And I've already have collection name here, ProQuest Ebook Central. I'm going to switch to the All tab because there's the review in the All tab. Maybe someday we'll have a session just on the Community Zone Updates task list. The review are things which should be reviewed. All is everything. And there's nothing specific, as we can see here, for ProQuest Ebook Central that needs to be reviewed. So I'm going to the All tab. And this is showing, this is nice. This is not showing how much is actually changing. This is for a date range of December 2nd to December 7th, 5 days, which is last week. There were 2,931 different updates for ProQuest Ebook Central. For example, a bibliographic record was updated here. This bibliographic record was updated. In another case, a portfolio was added. It says non-autoactive electronic service. That's just part of the collection. So a portfolio was added. A lot of cases of portfolio added. And then you can also filter here by the report type. For example, I can say I want only those where a portfolio was added. And then I get all of those. And I can see which portfolios were added to this electronic collection. Or I can say I want only those, only those where, what was that, bibliographic information was updated. Portfolio bibliographic record updated. So I can go through here. I'm going to sort descending this one just so we get the other side. Portfolio, oh, so they're all portfolio added or portfolio bibliographic record updated. During those 5 days, there were 2,931 updates, and it was either a portfolio was added or the bibliographic record of the portfolio was updated. That concludes everything I want to show. I will, however, go through a little summary here. So what did we do? We set up the ProQuest Upload Electronic Holdings integration profile. We put in the site ID. We pointed out that ProQuest on their side also needs to do something in their back office, or on the back end, we'll say, to support this. They will be notified via that when you get asked for the site ID that you're setting up the Upload Electronic Holdings integration profile. And from then on, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit back and relax. Everything will be automatically updated, activated, and deleted. We saw those 3 specific examples. No manual work at all. No need to go get a file, download it, upload it, make sure you're doing it properly, separate it, nothing. Everything happens automatically. No need to do anything, and it's a daily process. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's any final questions or comments before we finish. Someone asks, if you don't deactivate the previous one, you will end up with duplication in your discovery view, right? Which you don't want because it's confusing for users. But you don't want 2 collections with one that you didn't purchase activated. Anything you've purchased should be activated in your institution. The question is if you purchased the electronic collection, and if so, it should be activated in your institution. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so thanks everyone. This is our last session of the whole series, the Managing Electronic Resources series. It's been a nice time doing the series with you. I see a lot of the same people have come each week, so it's been nice. The recording will be posted. It'll be on our YouTube channel, be accessible from the Education and Webinars page, and I'll send out a message that it's available. So thanks, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you in our other sessions. Have a nice day.